Why are gold and silver crashing today? Very interesting what's happening in the gold market and the silver market. But at the same time, we have a major U.S. brokerage house calling for all-time highs just a few days ago. They said prepare for all-time highs in the gold price, and we know what that would do to the silver price. And we got to talk about debt. I'm sorry. I know it's not a fun subject for a lot of us to talk about. The world is awash now in $305 trillion in debt, and we have this debt limit situation going on, which is going to affect the price of gold and silver. A lot of people said, look back to 2011. Heck, I even said it. In 2011, when we had the debt limit crisis, gold went to an all-time high. Silver went to $48 per ounce. It just lends credence to saying just because something happened last time doesn't automatically mean it's going to happen this time. Now, maybe in the coming week we'll see a big move in the gold price and the silver price, but for now, it doesn't seem to be helping the price. One of my loyal subscribers, Timothy Zub, sent me an email. He said that today's downdraft in the gold and silver price is likely attributable to a flight to safety. People are going to the U.S. dollar, which is just crazy to think about, right? But they're going, what do you think about that? Everybody's going to the U.S. dollar because they're afraid of the debt crisis, and that's pushing up the dollar and down the price of gold and silver. I didn't look at the DXY index before I got on here, but I imagine it's up. It must be up rather strongly to be pushing down the price of gold and silver. But don't you think this is all just temporary, right? Like noise, rearranging of the deck chairs on the Titanic before the ship sinks? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking. I want to dig in a little bit to the details about this TD Securities prediction that we are going to have a record high in the gold price. Today is painful, right? I mean, it is for me. I know I'm not supposed to get upset about little moves in the market, but, my gold mining stocks, silver mining stocks, I own some silver bullion. Everything is getting clobbered, right? Silver was pushing up against $26 not too long ago, and now we're pushing up against $23, which isn't all that horrible. Don't you forget, just 6, 7, 8 months ago, we were pushing on $17 silver. Gold, $1,600. We're at least $300 per ounce higher in the price of gold. And when I talk about gold, I want you to know one thing. I'm always talking about silver as well. In general terms, right? Silver's like the little brother, little sister, little cousin, however you want to look at it, to gold. All right, let me hop into the comments here real quick and see what you... S&M, smoke and mirrors. You got that right, Dave Metcalf. Don't forget, the world monetary system has always been anchored by gold and silver. Gold and silver, I believe what John Exter said, right? They are always the anchor, the base of the pyramid, the base of the money system. The way I was explaining it, I was having a conversation with a buddy the other day. I said, it's like a big ship that drops its anchor, right? And the anchor's secure on the bottom of the ocean, but they let out some slack so the ship can drift for a little bit. And that's what's been going on over the last 50 years, right? The ship is drifting. Oof, having a hard time saying that one, but the anchor is still there, and we're probably getting to a point now where the storm has come, the ship is really drifting, and the anchor is catching, right? That's what we're seeing. Yeah, I'll never what-apps you. That's right, Coin Shop Chris. Hello, Ancient Tom. I'm a little annoyed that if I waited another couple days, I could have saved myself $50. Yeah, well... don't beat yourself up, right? That's why it is important to dollar cost average in. Nobody ever picks the exact top or bottom. If they claim they do, right, on a consistent basis, sometimes we get lucky buying stocks, buying gold and silver, getting in at a top or selling, or getting in at a bottom or selling at a top. Anybody who tells you they do that every time, those are like the people that every time they go to the casino, they come back telling you how they won money, right? Just don't believe them. Sorry. Let's see what's going on here, guys. Let's see what's going on. Silver and gold going down is the system covering itself. Debt isn't going away. Yeah, let's jump right in and talk about the debt situation. I have this article that I printed and read and highlighted for you. And we're going to cover the important parts of this article. The gold price, wrong article. That's the second article. Global debt. Here we go. I'm sorry. Global debt nears record highs as rate hikes trigger crisis of adaptation, top trade body says. And this is from CNBC, okay? The IIF said the combination of such high debt levels and rising interest rates has driven up the cost of servicing debt, triggering concerns about leverage in the financial system. At close to 305 trillion, yes, trillion, global debt is now 45 trillion higher than its pre-pandemic level and is expected to continue to increase rapidly. So that means before the pandemic, we had $260 trillion in debt. Now we have $305 trillion. I want to show you another graph, another chart. This is from Gold Switzerland. This is key to remember because remember guys, all the debt, all the derivatives, all of everything, you need to look at this, rests upon that little tiny little box down there. That's the total amount of world central bank gold. It is not even 1% of all the debt and derivatives and everything else in the world. And guys, that's what supports it all. And this is snowballing, okay? Out of control debt, okay? It's the same thing as money printing or anything else, and it's snowballing now. And that's what this article on CNBC, of all places, is telling us. Let me ask you, say yes or no. Do you think that the debt levels of the world are snowballing out of control? Yes or no? Because if you do, that's a strong supportive factor for the silver price and the gold price. I need a Ventris Gibson box. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to look into that, Mr. Metcalf. I'm always looking to improve my audio and video quality. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I'm waiting. Oh, you know what? I need to scroll down. Sorry about that. Yes. Debt per person is like $250,000. Yeah, I mean, it is out of control. But Americans, and I think a lot of people in the Western world, they're just kind of like living in la-la land. They don't even think about what's going on. Yes, you know it is. Your birth certificate is being traded in the bond market. Yeah, great. Yeah, that makes sense. Hasta la vista adventures. Yes. Joe Fowler. Yes. Ancient Tom. Yes. Mr. Blondie. Yes. Ron Coin. You're feeding my ego with that one, you know. Hyperinflation is almost here. Yeah, that's okay. You need to, I made a video about this. You need to read this great article from Gold Switzerland, okay? And it's got an unbelievably, this debt that's growing out of control. And remember, guys, this does have to do with gold price and silver price, gold value, silver value. Let's stop talking about price and pricing it in dollars, right? We talk about ounces and value, what we can trade it for. It has another great example about the debt and how when things reach a tipping point, like where we are now. Why can't I find it? All right, here we go. If you're going to fill a stadium, this is the last time I'll go over this with you, I promise you. If you're going to fill a stadium with water, Sorry, I'm trying to avoid the slurps. I'll mute the microphone next time. If you're going to fill a stadium with water, a giant football stadium, imagine in your head, right? A giant I'm thinking of here in Missouri, the Mizzou football stadium, seats 60, 70,000 people. You're going to fill it with water, and you get 1 drop of water per minute. But the number of drops double every minute. So 1 drop per minute, and they double every minute. How long will it take to fill that stadium with water? A year, a day, a month? No, 50 minutes. Okay, now think of this in terms of the debt we have in the world. Okay, how full would it be after 45 minutes? Only 7%. In the final 5 minutes, that stadium goes from being 7% full all the way to 100% full, right? That shows the compounding. And we have the debt levels are higher. The big key here is also the interest rates. Anyway. And it does affect the price of silver and gold, right? Silver and gold are the base of the money, period. Now, one last thing we need to talk about on this debt situation is zombie firms, meaning in the United States, it's estimated that 14% of companies are zombie firms. That means whatever income they make only goes towards servicing their debt. They're basically insolvent. Now, that was when rates were lower. When rates go higher, we're going to see a wave of bankruptcies with these higher rates. They don't even have to go higher, as these companies are forced to refinance their debt. I don't want to be doom and gloom, right? I could be wrong. But I'm telling you, when you just apply basic math to these things, the outlook for me for the price of gold and silver, I know today's a cruddy day, not a good day for us holders of physical silver and gold or precious metal mining stocks. But when we look forward, right, we can see mathematically, unless they change the rules of math, and don't you forget, I have a word of wisdom for you. Mathematics show none, zero forgiveness on the altar of truth. Now, I have a request from you guys. If anybody, one of my viewers requested that I interview someone either from Europe or Australia about what gold and silver stacking, gold and silver investing, the general gold and silver attitudes are in Europe. So if anyone's joining us today from a European country or Australia for that matter, send me an email. My email address is always in the description of every video. ronsbasementsilver@gmail.com. I would love to do a Zoom. What I do is a recorded Zoom call with you, and then I edit it into a video. If anybody wants to do it, I'm lighthearted. It's easy. I can walk you through it. Send me an email, and I'd love to get that set up. Somebody in Holland or France or Belgium or Brisbane or wherever you're from, let me know. But like I said, send me an email. All right, guys, let's see here. Hello, Marshmaz. Hello, Coin Shop Chris. Of course, our good friend, Coin Shop Chris. Watching the 10-year yield rise. Back up the truck. I see $22. I don't know what Nisara is. That's interesting. You know, another interesting thing going on, there is an organization, what's it called, darn it, of 10 Southeast Asian countries that put out a proclamation that they're moving away from the dollar. I'm going to have a video out about it tomorrow, but it's countries like Thailand, Singapore, Indonesia, Vietnam. These are growing countries. This isn't BRIC. This is separate from the BRICS. That, no, guys, we want to move away from the dollar. And we know what's going on with the Middle East countries, de-dollarization. Things are getting very, very, very interesting. And we're going to cover this call for an all-time high in the price of gold from TD Securities. We'll get to that in a minute. I just want to look through the comments here. Anything Eric K says, patience, everyone. We know the fiat dollar is history. Keep stacking. You won't be sorry. Thank you for that comment, Eric. Seriously. You know, that's what we're here for, guys, is to support ourselves. We know the thesis. We know the reasons behind why gold and silver are going higher. But there's going to be some really, really painful days. And, we'll just deal with it and we'll keep on going. Mass hypnosis psychosis. Yeah. It feels that way, doesn't it? Silver and gold is money. Everything else you think is money is nothing but unicorn fart dust. Thank you, my friend, Coin Shop Chris. Hey, Coin Shop Chris, is it possible for me to call you from Evelyn's phone so you could just say hello to everybody? Maybe give some words of support on a day like today? Let me know. I've got the phone here in the comment section, Chris. And if that's okay, I'll give you a call here in a few minutes. Would you guys like to hear from Coin Shop Chris? Just a few minutes? You know, he'll say, forget about them and feed them, fill in the blank. All right, let's cover this. Gold price down nearly $100 after testing all-time highs, but sell-off is exhausted and new cycle highs are ahead, said TD Securities. This is actually from a few days ago. So I think so far TD Securities has been a little less than accurate in their assessment of what's going on. For the dollar, silver and gold is money. Let me see if I have tap one for the bell. Oh yeah, hey guys, hey, if we get to 100 thumbs up here, and I will call Coin Shop Chris in a few moments, but if we get to 100 thumbs up, I will ring the bell 10 times. Okay? Each ring represents 10 thumbs up. And somebody brought up a great point in a previous live stream. They said, oh, there we got it. They said it's ringflation. One. All right. Let's get back to TD Securities here. The gold market, and this is from Kitco article, the gold market sell-off is nearly done. Prices will be heading to all-time highs, said TD Securities, which activated a new long gold trade at $1,994. They were a little early in that, right? Because today we're flirting with 1950. We activate gold at 1994, anticipating imminent selling exhaustion in precious metals and rising discretionary interest to support the yellow metal towards new all-time highs. And then it goes on to say that gold is down about $100 from its recent high. We got to keep that in perspective, guys. We are down. Today is painful. But don't forget, right? Just recently, about the highest we got was 2050. We're at 1950. It's not good, but not catastrophic by any stretch of the imagination. They're calling for gold 2150 by year end. Let's see if we can get a hold of our friend Coin Shop Chris to say hello. See if he can't give us a little words of advice. Bear with me here while I call Chris. Chris. Oops. I screwed up. Bear with me. I forgot one number. All right, let's do this slowly. It's ringing. Are we ready for Coin Shop Chris?
Coin Shop Chris, can I help you?
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
How you doing, Mr. On?
I'm doing good. Welcome to the live stream. You want to say hi to everybody?
I can barely hear you.
You can barely hear me?
Now I can hear you. I don't know what it was.
Okay, you can hear me now?
How's everybody doing?
What do you think about what's going on in the silver and gold market today, Chris?
It's a common thing. I just advise people don't sell right now. I'm seeing too many people panicking and coming to sell. Not a good time to sell. It's just not.
Do you think it's is it a better time to buy?
This is the time to buy. We might see, I'm kind of agreeing with some of your viewers out there. We might see another drop down to 22. Just before we see a spike up again.
In the silver price.
In the silver price, gold, it could really get down to 1900 just before that spikes again.
Yeah.
Anything's possible, Ron. Anything. Like I said, I don't have a crystal ball. You don't.
I know. The only guy we know with a crystal ball is Buddy Rumble, and he says we're getting to, I think, what did he say yesterday? 2,400 by year end in gold.
I hope he's right. I
hope he's right too.
I mean, that's possible, but we could see another dip down. Buy on the way down. We don't want to be buying on the way up. And I hate to use the word buy, but that's our brains are wired that way, I guess.
Yes.
You have to transfer on the way down. You don't want to transfer on the way up. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Yes. Yep. Convert, I think, is our preferred word, right, Chris?
Convert, yes.
Convert your unicorn fart dust for real metal. Somebody's asking if you're in the St. Louis area, and we just want to let everybody know Chris is from the moon, right?
I'm from the moon, but I'm in the southeast.
Oh, all right, buddy. Hey, I appreciate you coming on short notice, and appreciate all your help on the channel.
Let me just tell everybody, this was no warning. He didn't give me no warning. He was going to call me. I just like everybody to like, share, and subscribe. Ron's goal is 50,000 subscribers by February of 2024. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Sounds good. All right.
Thank you, Ron.
Yeah, Pat. If you have, okay. See you, Chris.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Yeah, Pat. Pat Holland. Yeah. If you do you still have the number, Pat? Pat Holland's talking about calling in from the Missouri Freedom Initiative. He can give us a debrief on the situation with SB 100, the legal tender legislation in Missouri, which did not pass. Pat, see if you can find my daughter's phone number, or I can possibly email it to you. Oh, here you go. We got Pat Holland. Hey, Pat.
Hey there, Ron. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, bud. You're on speakerphone, and you're live here in the basement. How you been?
You bet. Doing good. Smitty is kind of taking a back seat back there. He's taking quite a beating, isn't he?
Well, yeah, literally, Silver's taken a beating lately. But yeah, my daughter has become obsessed with ping pong. So
she's obsessed with ping pong. You're obsessed with using your phone for taking calls. It all works, man.
Yeah, I gotta give and take, So you
betcha.
She wants to play. So what's new with you, Pat?
Well, as you told your audience, and I'm afraid to tell everyone, despite the enormous popularity of SB 100, the silver and gold bill in the state of Missouri, it did fail. But it failed because of one man, and that's Dean Plocker.
Okay.
Dean Plocker. He's the Speaker of the House.
Okay.
And he basically set up, in a short video like this, it's really hard to say. Let's just say that he killed it.
Okay.
He made sure that it died. He colluded with others to make sure it died. And yes, I did use the word colluded.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes with Jonathan Patterson, the floor leader. I'm not blaming Jonathan Patterson, though. It looks to me very much like he was taking orders from Dean to kill it.
Okay.
So one man decided for 6 million people in the state of Missouri that gold and silver would not be legal tender in 2023. And we all need to remember that. In fact, many people may want to call his office or email him, but I will remind you, if you do so, his office staff are really, really wonderfully nice people.
Yeah.
So, shouting obscenities and screaming at them and, stuff like that isn't going to help.
Yeah.
Just it's enough for them to let them know, we know you killed it, Dean.
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah. We're watching.
And we understand that you want to be lieutenant governor in 2024.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at any rate, and we won't forget.
Say what you mean what you say, but don't say it mean. Right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. It's what do you think as we look into the future? Is there a chance next year for Missouri for this to come?
I'm not a quitter, Ron.
Right.
So I'm going to see if I can get the governor's interest for a special session during what we would call the veto session that happens at the end of summer every single year here in Missouri.
Okay.
And if I can get the governor's interest in maybe making that a priority, if so, and once again, I don't want to get people's hopes up. We're talking about like a 2% chance.
Mm-hmm.
I can get the governor to make it a priority, and if so, then the House and Senate can actually look at gold and silver again in September. But 2% chance there. So assuming that doesn't work or go through, we will definitely be doing it again next year. We'd be stupid not to, because it was incredibly popular. And everyone's got Dean's number on what he did to gold and silver. Everyone saw it in real time. I was physically there in the gallery watching House proceedings, silver and gold get killed. But everyone else was there too.
Right.
There's a lot of people from the Freedom Initiative that were there in the gallery watching. There's a lot of people watching live through the stream. So we know what happened. We know what Dean did. But so at any rate, that's basically the plan. If we'll try and get the governor's interest for the special session, for a special session. And then on top of that, we will try to we will get it going again in 2024 if we cannot get it in special session.
Okay.
And once again, this wasn't because people weren't active enough.
Right.
This had nothing to do with it. This was very popular.
Yeah.
This had to do with one man, and honest to God, if I can say this, a pissing contest.
Mm-hmm.
And because he didn't feel he was getting his priorities done through the Senate.
Right.
So senators actually stood up to Dean Plocker by not letting his priorities through the Senate.
Wow.
Because he wasn't letting their priorities through the House. We have a very dysfunctional government sometimes, and this year was a really good example of that. We didn't get very much legislation passed. From a liberty point of view, this was a very successful year because we just didn't get a whole lot of bills done.
Right.
Because of the never-ending pissing contest. But, from another point of view, we lost gold and silver. We lost a lot of good bills that we're going through this year.
Yeah.
So what I want to tell people is please do not be disheartened. This is the way it works in politics. And we can do it again next year, and it can be even more popular next year.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to people on the radio about this. I'm doing radio spots all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, trying to get back to work so I can actually make some money too. But
right.
But a lot of folks around the country wanted to know what happened to SB 100. So I'm taking a lot of radio spots. Just did one in Arizona.
Yeah, because you are what I would consider to be a kind of a leading figure in this whole movement, and I want to back up. You said, and I appreciate you saying that we do have. It's not like it's a complete lost cause. Like this was a one and done. I know will be, spearheading it next year, but you got a lot done in other states as well this year. Right. I mean, Arkansas,
Mississippi, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So even though my own state didn't get done, and I participated a little bit in helping some other states do some stuff. And I'm very happy for them. In fact, Tennessee!
Right.
Man, oh man, Tennessee, they did it. They got a depository. I'm jealous.
Right. Yeah, and they passed overwhelmingly in Tennessee, right? I mean,
it did.
wasn't even a real fight. So
no, it was a bipartisan effort.
yeah,
Everyone sees the threat. Everyone. It doesn't matter if you live in Delaware, if you live in California. Everyone sees the threat. It's just some governments are more friendly to working these constitutional solutions than others are.
right. Yeah, and I think it's so important to remember. Like, it still feels like to me that this movement across the entire country is definitely still alive and has momentum behind it.
That's right. And no, that this will continue on. The fact that we didn't get it in Missouri has probably discouraged other states. That's one of the things that I'm starting to see.
Yeah.
But because we were doing it big and bold.
Right.
We had the entire enchilada in one bill, and a lot of states were watching it very closely. It got a lot of national attention.
Yeah.
And so I imagine that I'll be on Caravan to Midnight sometime in the next month.
Okay.
And then they'll be wanting to talk about it there as well. I'm very fortunate. There's a lot of folks in radio that want to talk to me with what I'm doing with silver and gold across the country, not just in Missouri. So, I do get a lot of exposure that way, and that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah.
And also it brings attention to our cause.
Yes.
Which is, we have got to go back to silver and gold, folks. I mean, everyone knows FedNow starts July 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, guys, I'm not talking about making money with silver and gold right now. I'm talking about an actual, honest-to-God lifeboat out of what's coming. Okay, FedNow is not the digital dollar. So I think a lot of people have misconceptions with this. FedNow is literally, what it's doing is it's the Federal Reserve's plan to begin the rollout of what we call the cashless society. That's what FedNow is, specifically. So that starts July 1st, and their target market for the Federal Reserve is businesses. So basically, between the Federal Reserve and the banks that are with the Federal Reserve, which is almost all of them, they will start incentivizing businesses to start getting away from cash. And so our plan was literally to make sure that there was another option in place, and that's gold and silver. And so, unfortunately, like I said, we did not get it done in Missouri. Many other states didn't get it through for various reasons. We'll kind of do a post-mortem, probably in the middle of the summer, about what happened in each state and why it failed, and or why it went through and how it went through.
Yeah.
But the thing is I want people in Ron's basement to know how very appreciative I were for everyone who made phone calls and sent emails, participated in this in the state of Missouri or in any other state that's doing this. Guys, yes, I live in Missouri. Yes, I wanted it in Missouri. But I am very seriously happy with Arkansas, Mississippi, and Tennessee. I'm not joking about that. It almost brings tears to my eyes how happy I am that other states are getting it done.
And you were a part of that. I mean, on a certain level, correct, Pat? I mean, you were involved in helping some of the other states, one degree or another. Yeah.
I would say that that's accurate. Yes.
And I want to say this before I forget: on behalf of everyone watching right now, and the thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who watched the previous videos that we did, and on behalf of myself. Thank you, because you did a lot for the people, for my viewers, and for me, and I know you're doing this right. You're not being paid to do this, but you helped a lot of people, and you bring little tears to my eyes because I didn't know you 3 months ago. And, we got to go on this journey with you. I think a lot of my viewers feel like, not only in Missouri, but all over the country. And, I want to circle back to this. We can still, everybody, Pat Holland, Ron's Basement, everybody watching right now, there's no law prohibiting us from us to protect ourselves from whatever may be coming digitally down the road by holding physical silver or physical gold, right? I mean, we can be our own central bank.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, Ron, what you said is so critical. for people to understand. Just because gold and silver is not legal tender in your state is no reason to not collect gold and silver and protect yourself. You are so right.
Yeah.
I recommend it. I am not a financial consultant. I'm not saying get gold and silver to be rich. I am not saying that, and I never will. Those of you who know me or have followed all the way back to Truth, Money, and Freedom podcast in 2017 when I started talking about gold and silver, know my heart on this. It's literally to protect yourself from inflation and from a digital dollar, period, end of story. Yeah. So I'm not going to be one of those guys to tell you to get rich, but I do have some exciting stuff I want to share with you real quick.
Sure.
We didn't get with because, and I'm going to lay it out one more time. I know I said I wouldn't do this anymore. I spent a lot of time trying to get Wall Street Silver involved in this story. And you know about that. Your folks know about this. And unfortunately, I burned up a lot of time in December and January because it wasn't until February that you and I started talking. Well, now I know that Ron's basement is where it's at. And so legislative seasons begin for most states, usually in January. Not all states, but most states that have half-time or part-time legislators. What that means is, and just to give you, this is just between you and me, Ron. Okay,
sure.
This is just between you and me.
Right. Yeah.
And I'll be working on a brand new piece of legislation for 2024 in July.
Oh, wow.
And I'll be working with an attorney and a chief of staff for a legislator. And so I should be done with that by August. Once that's done, we'll have something to share with everyone who wants to get it done in their state that did not get it done. And we'll start again, and we'll start early, Ron.
Okay.
As opposed to starting after the legislative seasons had already been going for anywhere from a month to 2 months. We'll be able to get them pre-filed in every single state. We'll have a much, much bigger impact. But I'll tell you what, since Ron, and by the way, I don't want to say Ron's the only one who helped because we did have a few others. Yankee Stacking was nice enough to do a video for us, if you remember Ron.
Yeah.
And then, gosh darn it, who was that other guy?
Oh, Silver Dragon or Silver Slayer?
No, it wasn't Silver Slayer.
The guy with the real deep voice. That's the
raspy voice.
Somebody will know. Somebody put that in the comments. But yeah, we'll give him. Yeah. I know there were a lot of people that helped you.
Yep. And so I want to say that there was other folks helping. It wasn't just Ron, but Ron, really made a lot of time for me. And I really appreciate that. And actually, that helped make a difference in Mississippi.
That's awesome.
That's true. And now that's the only one I can confirm right now. But that did make a difference in Mississippi. I don't think it made a difference in Arkansas or Tennessee at this time, though.
Yeah.
That's
Salivate Metals is the other one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Salivate Metal. Yes. So
let's explore. That's what he always says.
Yep. Okay, gotcha. So a big shout out to him too, because he let me do a video with him, and that got some attention as well. However, here's the great part about this, because I had this big old plan in my stupid mind that Wall Street Silver was really big and they could help spread the word fastest, and they had the biggest audience if you look at their Reddit crowd and this and that. But that was wrong thinking. Literally going to the smaller channels was where all the action was to be had. Literally. So, and I don't even know, I don't watch Wall Street Silver, so I have no idea how many people they have on their channel. But at any rate, we will start early this next year, gang. And once again, we'll start that process where I will help you, anyone, no matter what state you're in the United States, I can help you to get pre-filed.
Yeah.
And that's something that we never was able to do on your show because I stupidly was focusing on Wall Street Silver.
Yeah.
So I won't make that mistake again.
Okay.
We'll get your folks interested in who want to. We'll get them pre-filed, but you also need to start thinking along the lines of supporting your bill in your states. And so that's something for folks to start thinking about. But Ron, I think through Ron's basement, I think we can make a pretty big change in the United States next year.
Yeah.
I think we can bring gold and silver, to a lot more states. Pre-filing makes a difference.
Yeah.
If you come in after, your session started, it's much harder, to get it done sometimes. But at any rate, the folks of Ron's Basement, I absolutely love you, and I'm very appreciative. I'm going to one quick story. I didn't get a chance to tell you. I was at the Capitol when I talked to you one time, live on your show, and then we had calls going into Dan Huck's. Right. And there were literally over 200 calls that went into Dan Huck's.
Wow.
And that's when he was holding it in his rules committee. So stuff like that really makes a difference.
Yeah.
Now, so, you're the Ron's Basement. God bless you, man. And there is absolutely no doubt in my mind how you're growing, because it's meant to be, because you're a cornerstone influence for the United States, basically for getting gold and silver as legal tender in all 50 states. You gave me the time. You gave me all this time to talk to folks, and other folks are hearing from your channel. Your channel is growing as well. It's a great fit, and it was just kind of meant to be.
Yeah.
But everyone in Ron's Basement, let's get this done across the entire United States. Let's get this. And by the way, there could be more states this year. There's a few more that look pretty good, but we need a lot more states to do this. Gold and silver is where it's at. It's always where it's been at, because the Fed wants to take us to a cashless society where every transaction's, literally recorded, stored, examined, and taxed. Mm-hmm. So, Ron, if I want to come over to your house and buy a wheelbarrow from you, we have to whip out our phones and do a transaction with Fed coin, and then suddenly, I'm having to pay tax for that purchase.
Right. Yeah. Right. We have to make sure the government approves the transfer of the wheelbarrow from. I'm not, by the way, Susie's using the wheelbarrow right now to spread mulch in our yard. So
it's not for sale then, is it?
She may give it to you for free.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. But this is what I'm saying, gang. Through whatever social medias that we have access to, let's get this done across the country. This is critical. This is important. And it's not just my dream. This is literally fighting tyranny, folks.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing with this. And gold and silver's in the Constitution. Yeah. Digital dollars are not in the Constitution, or even digital representations. Even paper is not in the Constitution. That's in the Federal Reserve Act.
Right.
So everyone remember that. That's not even in the Constitution.
Pat, you know what, Pat? I was really lucky to meet you, 3 months ago? It really has been awesome. And I appreciate the kind words you said about me, but I want you to know, I'm going to say one last time on behalf of myself and everybody that's, a member or subscriber, whatever, of Ron's Basement, the pleasure really has been all ours. People love you, and it's also because what you're doing is genuine. You aren't trying to make a buck. You aren't. Nope. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I wanted to make sure I got that out. And I want you at least once a week for us to spend 20, 30 minutes together on a Zoom call, so we can keep you in front of my audience, even, if we're talking about the whatever, because my audience really loves to hear from you. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to bug you to squeeze 20 minutes in for me at least once a week.
Sure, no problem. I'll tell you what, I'd love to answer. Thank you very much, by the way.
Yeah.
I want to answer a few questions people put in there. First of all, David Metcalf asked, does Pat stack? Yes, sir, since I was 14 years old, and I'm currently 51 years old. I've been stacking a long time. Someone asked, Wayne LeMay says, why not try and get it done at the federal level? Wayne, I'm going to explain this real quick. Okay. But actually, it can't be done at the federal level. There's no way gold back our currency again in any real way. It's just not possible. They would have to raise the price of gold and silver so much it would kill the dollar, and that's why it'll never get done. I'm truly sorry about that. I know that there's a bill right now to go back the dollar. It's going nowhere, trust me. But unfortunately, that is the truth of it. It'll never get. The states have to do this individually. And it would be nice if the states all valued gold and silver the way we did in SB 100, which is weight, purity, spot, and premium. Those were the four planks for actually putting a value on gold and silver. So that's, I think, what all states need to do. Let's see. The Bear is running the show today. I see that. You know what?
I'm back.
Okay, gotcha. Well, Ron,
I had to make a pit stop. This is a world record length live stream, I think. 48 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, it's awesome. No, it's great. I had to attend to a matter. I'll leave it at that.
Hey, okay, I understand, and that does happen. Let me once again. I was asked whether or not I was a stacker. I'm a stacker, but I am much more a silver guy than I am a gold guy. Just to be straight up honest with you guys.
Yeah.
I love my silver, but I do have a little bit of gold. So that's where I'm at. Just if you guys are wondering. But once again, Ron, I'm very appreciative of everything that you guys have done in helping out with the state of Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
It mattered, and it was felt. It was known.
Yeah.
That when we can get targeted phone calls like that, literally in real time, that makes a big difference. And we utilized all of our networks, but basically, you guys were quite helpful. So thank you to everyone in Ron's Basement. And in fact, maybe we should set up something like this for other states too. If other states have grassroots movements and set up, Ron's Basement can be a central location where we all come to. If the grassroots need, there's a pressure point that needs to be hit. There's a bottleneck that needs to be alleviated. Let's say in the state of Idaho. And then, if there's a grassroots movement in Idaho, they can report into Ron's Basement and let the folks in Idaho know, that are in your channel. But we got to keep growing Ron's Basement, to make this, even more effective in more states. So everyone be sure to give a thumbs up, share the videos, and remember now, Ron, and this is no joke, I made inquiries of a lot of channels to help me out with getting this done across the United States. Ron was the only guy who said, that's an interesting story. I would very much like to explore that with you. Please come on my channel. Please talk to my folks about it. And then, of course, there was Salivate Metal. It did that as well.
And Yankee.
Yankee reported on one of your videos. That's correct.
All right. Right.
So, guys, let's keep growing Ron's Basement, because Ron's Basement seems to be the place to be where we can all do this. We can actually get this done for America. Let's save our country through this one YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Because there's so many others that aren't willing to put up with my boring butt, I guess, because, there's, I don't know what to say. They just wouldn't do it. And Ron did it. And Ron, I'll never forget that. Thank you so much.
Oh, hey, man, that's great. And, I'm going to bug you next week. We're going to have you back on the channel. I'll come up with some interesting things for us to talk about, because while gold and silver legal tender legislation is definitely our primary focus, that subject touches on a number of other subjects that I think I know my audience will love to hear from you regarding.
Sure. And for everyone in Ron's Basement, remember, now, I'm not concerned with this, and that's not what I'm doing. I'm concerned about losing our country, because tyranny is coming, and digital currency is the cornerstone of that tyranny. But I do want to say that this is absolutely critical for our nation and for our states.
Yeah.
So please stay tuned to Ron's Basement for further updates on this.
And you know what, Pat? Before I forget, something I want you don't have to give me an answer, but something that you may want to consider. There's a guy who comes on my channel from Louisiana, Buddy Rumble. He's a great guy, and we have CoinShop Chris. And Buddy and I and CoinShop Chris talked about doing like a 3-way Zoom call at some point. If we can ever, it's going to be hard to get 4 schedules together, but maybe we could even be on with like a group of us, to give different perspectives on things as well.
Okay, gotcha. you. I'd love to do that.
Yep.
Someone asked, what's Pat's channel?
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, guys. I mean, I have a YouTube channel, but because, and I mean, I hate to just say it this way, but I've been censored so much on YouTube that I moved over to Odyssey. We do have a YouTube channel, and we do put stuff up once in a blue moon, but not too often. And it's the Missouri Freedom Initiative on YouTube. But it's not a well-used channel. So just to warn you guys in advance, we don't put a lot of stuff there. Odyssey, we do also have the Missouri Freedom Initiative for those of you who are on Odyssey. However, for those of you in Missouri, please join my email list, and you can do that by going to our website, mofree.org, and just sign up for the newsletter. Or just email me at it's patrick@mofree.org. If you're in Missouri, I highly recommend you do this because you can really help make a difference in the state of Missouri for gold and silver legal tender legislation. Whether it be during a governor's special session or whether it be during a standard session in 2024, you can be a part of this. You can help this, happen. And once again, you guys are freaking awesome. Thank you very much for everything you guys do, not just in Missouri, but around the entire country. Let's get some grassroots movements going in other states to support legislation in their states. And by the way, the most important thing is I think we still have 7 states left that have sales tax on gold and silver. That has got to go. And one more thing I want to say to your listeners. I don't care about the price of gold and silver as, for making money, getting rich. But I guarantee you, if gold and silver is legal tender across the entire 50 United States, there is not enough to go around. They will have to bring up the price.
Well, what about Pat? What about if I don't know if you know this. What's his Colonel Gregory? Shoot, I lost my paper. He's on that redacted channel quite. He's a retired Army colonel talking about it's almost not a guarantee, but very likely we're going to have a BRICS gold-backed currency. I mean, think about, it's like, where's the gold going to come from, right? I mean, and what if Americans, the wealthiest country still in the world, what if just a few more, 1% more of Americans wake up to gold and silver? I mean, the demand for gold and silver, and I mean, when we have these little spikes like we had 5-6 weeks ago when the bank crisis, that's now been fixed, by the way, but when the bank crisis hit, I mean, there were no metals to be had, right? It was very difficult. What's going to happen? What's going to happen if something really big happens? And by the way, I want to say thank you to Jeff Reddy for the super chat. I appreciate it. Never expected. But you know what I mean? Where's the metal going to come from?
I don't know how to answer that because actually you're the one who has the inroads with Keith Newmeyer.
Yeah.
Honest to God. But what they do is they try to keep silver right at mining price.
Yeah.
For spot.
Yeah.
And Keith knows this well. Now, Keith is one of the guys who has the equipment and the expertise and the know-how to actually mine for cheaper than many other silver miners. And, but not a lot of them can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact of the matter is what they do is they try to keep silver at the price it takes to actually mine and refine it into dolomite bars.
Right.
And that's 90% purity. And so that's where they try to keep it at. So what do? What can we do? The answer is literally, well, if you want to get rich with gold and silver, my plan probably will work too. Make it legal tender in your state.
Yeah.
And then also not just legal tender, make sure the legislation that you use, or if you have it as legal tender in your state, like Oklahoma does, Utah does, Wyoming does, Arizona does in sorts, and now newly Arkansas. What you guys got to do is do legislation next year stating what the value of gold and silver is in legislation. And that would be weight, purity, spot, and market premium. Those are the 4 planks to actually adjusting for the actual value of gold and silver as a money, an exchangeable money, basically transaction money. That's how we do it. And then basically, guys, there just is, as I said, there's not enough to go around.
No.
So what do they have to do to adjust for that? They have to raise the price.
Yeah, price fixes everything. I mean, think about three major. You got individuals that can stack silver and gold, right? That could be a huge source of demand. You have the states that are moving, forward with legal tender legislation. That's good for silver and gold demand. And then when you zoom out on a worldwide basis and look at what's going on with the BRICS and with the rest of the world, de-dollarization, right? And everybody sending dollars back. Somebody mentioned that in the comments. I mean, it's a no-brainer, but on a day like today, it doesn't feel like it, but it really is a no-brainer.
Yeah, but in days like today,
yeah.
I mean, I've been stacking since I was 14 years old. Days like today, I've seen a long time. The ratios are bigger now because the price is up, but gold getting smacked around and silver being smacked around. Guys, I've seen this my entire life.
Yeah.
And it's keeping up with inflation. Well, silver's not doing a very good job of that right now, but gold is.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but the fact of the matter is they keep it at mining price. They don't even care about inflation when it comes to silver. But once silver is actually being used as currency, there's just, like I said, there's just not enough to go around. Guys, most of this goes into industry. There's a huge mining deficit right now, and Keith probably would know the numbers on this.
I know the numbers. I talked with Keith Neumeyer a week ago, and it's approaching somewhere between 300 and 400 million.
300 and 400 million ounce deficit per year.
Yeah.
So the only way they can make up for that is recycling. And right now, recycling, Keith would know the numbers on this, but I think for recycling to be worthwhile, they got to bring it up to about $32 an ounce. Is that right?
Well, Keith says 50.
50.
He says that's when it becomes economically viable to recycle. And again, I'm that's from memory, but I'm 99% sure I've got that right. That you need $50 silver for it to be enticing to spend all the money it takes to get it out of the electronics or wherever they're going to get it from to pull it out.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Because of the deficit and how long can we go with this deficit is the question.
Yeah.
So they're going to shake silver out of people's hands.
Yeah.
Are they going to actually get stackers to cash in? Well, they may be able to get that done, with hard times, with loss of jobs, and people have to survive. They have to depend on their silver to get by. That's probably what they're counting on because they definitely do not want silver at $50.
Right.
But the mining price so far is probably right about what silver is right now. I haven't looked at it lately, but I know it's down. Guys, remember, they rarely take silver below mining price. It's really rare when they do that. Mm-hmm. They at least keep it at the average mining price. And the best source for that is David Morgan. Mm-hmm. David Morgan knows the yearly estimate for, and by the way, fuel prices affect silver a great deal.
Yeah.
So just remember that.
Yeah.
Looks like it's $23.45 right now, spot price.
Yep. And let's not forget back in September, October, we were pushing up against $17. So, I think a lot of people are obviously not happy with the price action the last week or two, but it doesn't just go straight up. And if we zoom out 8 months, and if you had told us back in September, October that we were going to have $23.50 silver, we probably would have been very, very happy.
Right. Absolutely. And remember, gang, they can't do this forever, but because they have to keep it up with the mining prices. Inflation goes up, they will have to keep up with literally the price of extracting it from the earth and refining it into dolomite. They got to at least keep up with that. So we have dollars coming home, so that price is going to go up anyway. So silver is going to go up a little bit more, but let's not think along the lines of being rich. Let's think along the lines of literally preventing the tyrannical digital dollar that they have planned for us here in the United States. Yeah. That keeps you more focused.
And you know what, Pat? We Coin Shop Chris and I talk about this all the time. We're so brainwashed into thinking about silver and gold and platinum in terms of dollar price, right? I mean, and it's bizarre to even think. I mean, gold and silver have been valuable for thousands of years, platinum as well. The dollar's been around, whatever, 100, 200 years, however you want to measure it. Like, don't think of your silver and gold think of it in terms of ounces, right? Or think of it relative to how many heads of lettuce. That's how I met Coin Shop Chris. He sent me an email from where he lives with pictures of iceberg lettuce was $5 a head, and I emailed him back and I said, yeah, I don't think that's a fair trade. An ounce of silver for 5 heads of lettuce. I'm not going to take that one. Think of it in terms of the value and not in terms of the fiat dollar, euro, yen price, right? It's hard for us to do, and I'm guilty every single day. I check the price of silver, but I mean, go ahead.
You're absolutely correct. And in fact, I'm not sure if I did that for you one time on one of your live streams, but that's the problem with the dollar is we compare it against itself.
Yeah.
$20 bill is always a $20 bill. It's always worth $20. This right there is brainwashing, and we all have it.
Yeah.
We're raised with it. But the fact of the matter is, how many barrels of oil can you buy with that $20? Well, right. If you just go back, like 20 years ago, you could buy a barrel of oil with that $20. Mm-hmm. Now it's going to cost you $80 for a barrel of oil.
Yeah.
So you got to think along the lines of comparing one asset to another and not against itself. But on most silver and gold, comparing it to dollars is actually it doesn't work very well. Chris Duane often says you're going to judge your wealth in ounces, mm-hmm. and so just worry about accumulating ounces. And once again, I mean, I'm the last one that ever should say anything about we all need to be thinking about how much money we're going to make on gold and silver. Guys, we're talking about survival here. I'm that guy, unfortunately. So I'm somewhat of a prepper. But mm-hmm. I understand people wanting to make money on gold and silver because there probably will come a time. But I'll tell you what, I mean, they'll suppress it as long as they can. And who is they? That's the United States Treasury. It doesn't matter who is in the White House. They all do it because suppressing silver is what makes the dollar look better. That's the critical thing for them. It's all about making the dollar strong because it's the world reserve currency.
And Pat, when you were talking about we compare dollars to the $20 bill to itself, you had a term for that, nominal something. Nominal confusion, yeah. Which I mean, just something like like $100 bill. I think of $100 bill the same way today. My eyes light up that I did 10 years ago. But the fact of the matter is, it only buys 60% of the gasoline that it did 10 years ago, or 50% of the food probably that it did 10 years ago.
That's right. It's in fact, actually, it's significantly less than that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Guys, this inflation stuff is just starting, and we may say right now it's bad. Mm-hmm. That's nothing compared to when dollars come flying home from foreign nations.
Right.
That don't want to use it anymore, that are now using the Chinese yuan. And that seems to be the way people are going. Argentina's doing it. Right now, Mexico is in talks with China for all trade with China to Mexico in the Chinese yuan. Guys, this is scary stuff. Mexico is a big trading partner with the United States, and they're dumping the dollar. Yeah. Argentina, so much. People may not think about it, but Mexico's a big deal.
Mexico's a huge deal. What about this, Pat? Have you ever heard of the ASEAN countries? I'd never heard of it. ASEAN. It's it's an organization called ASEAN. They had a summit. It's 10 Southeast Asian countries. It's like Thailand. I don't know. I have the list here somewhere. Thailand, Vietnam, they came out with a proclamation that they want to move away from the dollar. Now, it's not going to happen immediately, but they just wrapped up a big summit. And, I mean, it's like the whole, like you said, we're going to have dollars flooding back to the United States, the Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, under the best of circumstances, it looks crazy, but if you factor in the world de-dollarizing, it gets real scary, right?
It does. It is scary because, once again, we have been privileged for so long. You have to go back, literally 70, 80 years to previous to the dollar being, the world reserve currency.
Right.
You have to go that far back.
Right.
And so a lot of people don't remember what it was like before then. A lot of people are gone now. They're not with us anymore that remember what it was like before then.
Mm-hmm.
So gang, this is going to be bad. This is going to get bad. You think about along the lines of paying $20 a gallon for gasoline. And we should never have to do that. We have the resources in the United States to actually have gasoline significantly cheaper, but they won't do it. They just won't do it. The current administration, let's put it that way. We could do it, but it's more than that. Literally, the dollars come flooding home, and they have a plan to deal with that. You don't just mop up those dollars when they come home. They come through corporations, and the corporations spend them into the general economy. It will hyperinflate. Mm-hmm. So the plan for the Fed is, that's okay. We will switch to FedNow. We'll switch to cashless, and then we'll go to the digital dollar. And that's their plan. And that's not a good plan, by the way. So if they activate what we think of right now as their plan to switch to the digital dollar, they will put all the debt into the digital dollar. That is total, complete enslavement of everyone in the United States for the rest of your lives. You will exist for one reason and one reason only, and that's to serve the state. So this goes beyond gold and silver, gang. We're talking about your very freedoms literally being on the line. If we go to a digital dollar, you will be socially credit scored. Businesses will have environmental social governance. Everything will be based on your behavior. You will not be able to make money or be able to spend your money if you have quote unquote bad behavior because you disagree with the government. That's the kind of tyranny that's coming. And gold and silver can save us from that. It truly can. Physical gold and silver. Yeah. That is it.
That's our savior.
And I know a lot of folks are saying, no, cryptocurrency. Well, there might be a place for that. But I'll tell you what, the Constitution doesn't say Bitcoin. It's easier to do something that's already in the Constitution. Yeah. It's just easier. We can transition into a partial Bitcoin payment system later. We can worry about that later. Don't fight for Bitcoin right now. Gold and silver is the best way to go. We have tons of history with it. And also, everywhere in the world is accepted as money.
Universal. Yes.
Yep.
I always like to point out that fact that, I can't say for all time, but for thousands of years and everywhere, universal. And you can't say that. And it has no counterparty. I mean, I don't want to get into a big Bitcoin discussion, but a Bitcoin, it seems like to me like they want to act like it's independent of the big financial system, right? But then they also don't want to recognize that it is also trackable to a certain degree as well. It's kind of got, you know what I mean? And gold fixes that.
Yep, you're absolutely right. And that's the thing. Anonymous transactions is literally the cornerstone of a free society.
Yeah.
And I know, I've been in the legislature in Missouri, and I know what that means to Democrats. Drug dealers not paying their taxes. Mm-hmm. That's what they're worried about. They're not worried about drug dealers being out there. They're worried about them not paying their taxes, apparently.
Right.
Guys, anonymous, you don't want to be taxed on literally, you give your grandson $100 for his birthday, and then suddenly he's got to pay taxes on it.
Right.
That's what's coming with digital currency, gang. We want to get away from that. You want to give your grandson, a couple of silver coins on his birthday.
Yeah.
Anonymous, so he's not taxed, so he can save money, and actually not have it lose value.
Right.
And I know that sounds extremely rudimentary, but that's one of the great cases for gold and silver.
Yeah.
Is you can teach your kids and your grandkids to save again, because that's one thing we're losing here in America, saving.
Yep.
And it's harder for people to save when you're going through an inflation. And of course, what's the solution to inflation? Gold and silver. It all comes full circle every single time. No matter what the financial crisis is, Gold and silver is the solution. Getting it done is sometimes difficult, but it is the solution. And I want to help everyone across the United States get the right solution, and the constitutional solution, and the solution that can protect their families from a digital dollar and the tyranny it represents, not to mention inflation.
So gold and silver are timeless, thousands of years, universal, and I think I'll add another unique characteristic. They're scarce. There is only so much of it on the face of it. I mean, who can match that? Right?
Yep.
Who can match that? Nothing.
You know, because of what I do, and I do a lot of public speaking. I'm on the radio, you know, stuff like that. I get hit with Bitcoiners.
Right.
And I mean, I love them, you know, and by the way, I'm not saying that Bitcoin's horrible. I have a little bit of it myself, but you don't see me pitching Bitcoin. We don't have the history with it. We just don't.
Right.
Guys, this is an immediate problem we have to deal with. Inflation's already here. The digital dollar, yeah, no problem, Ron. Digital dollar is coming. You know, and FedNow is proof of it. So we need, you know, basically the solution that we know will work and has always worked in the past. And that's another thing, too. Every fiat currency fails, without exception. They all fail. And what do they use when they ditch one fiat currency and go to another one? It's always precious metals. They value the old one against the new one in precious metals. So precious metals always plays a role. Always in between currencies. We can't go from the dollar to the digital dollar anyway. People need to stand up against this digital dollar nonsense. Mm-hmm. And let's see, Ron has been drinking beer, is what M77AXY says.
No, Ron doesn't drink beer anymore. I used to. I've not drank beer for 15, 14, I don't know, over a decade. So I'm drinking coffee now. Yeah. Oh, shoot. I was listening to you, Pat, and there was something so strong I wanted to say about the fiat currencies. Yeah. It just blows my mind. And I'm guilty of this too, that like we believe the dollar is valuable, right? I mean, and all you have to do is, you know more about this than I do. I always like to use the example of the Confederate dollars. I say, well, what if you lived in the South before the Civil War and you had all your money in Confederate dollars? How much I heard that people used Confederate dollars as wallpaper after the Civil War. There's the history is replete. I think, is that the appropriate word? Is generous.
A lot of, full of.
Yeah, replete. History is replete with examples of every fiat currency, right? Paper that's ever been becoming worthless. But it's so, if I say that to, I don't even try, but if I like try to talk to my neighbors about that, or my parents, or, almost anybody, relatives, they look at you like you're a nutcase, and it's like, well, okay, I don't even do it because I figure if they're interested in me, they can watch my YouTube videos. Otherwise, I'll just keep my big mouth shut.
Sure. And you know what? Do you know why you're in that case? Is because the government says, that gold and silver are barbarous relics. The Federal Reserve says it. It's because, popular media has made it look like gold and silver are only used by criminals.
Right.
And that's why. It's not because of history. It's because, government who finds silver and gold abhorrent or anathema to what they want to do. Remember now, folks, this is critical to remember. We cannot continue our military and our social programs the way we do if we're on gold and silver. We can't.
Right. Yep.
We don't have the money to do it. We simply don't have it. So this is why they want a paper fiat currency that they can print out of the thin air, is so we can continue with our military and having wars all over the planet, that are not justified, by the way. And then we can continue promising basically people in the United States out of the Treasury all kinds of benefits.
Yep. Yeah. It even, Pat, I've got an article here I shared earlier from CNBC about the world debt, but it actually says exactly what you said. Because of aging population, rising healthcare costs, and national defense spending. Like, we've got to raise the debt limit, right? Or we've got to raise. There's no, because of all this debt. Like, they can't base it on real money. The only thing we can do at this point is, it's like we're in a debt spiral. Is raise more debt. It's untenable.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. It is untenable, and the world's watching. I want to say one more thing about the digital dollar. Everyone's saying not everyone, but some folks have said, I've contacted my congressman and told them I said no to CBDCs. And thank you for doing that, by the way. But the fact of the matter is we should be saying no to a cashless society.
Yeah.
That's what we should be saying no to, because actually, essentially, when everything is digital anyway and all the paper currency is gone, we're already in that digital currency.
Yeah.
All they have to do is switch it from, the current SWIFT system into digital wallets, and then they can start turning you off. But they can turn you off digitally anyway. So the answer is literally gold and silver right now, because they're not going to stop the cashless thing that the Fed's doing right now. If you're going to call up anybody, whether it be your state senator, your representative in your state, or on the federal level, it is stop the FedNow program. It is not legal to go cashless.
Yep.
It just isn't legal. But the thing is the Treasury's the problem. Once again, folks, you're going to find out, if you get involved legislatively like I do, you're going to find out very quickly how unconstitutional your government is. Uh-oh, is that the Jenny Yellen box?
I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Hi, Pat. Stop.
Janet Yellen.
Hi, Pat. Stop talking about me. You know what's in there with her?
Let's see. An ounce of silver?
No.
Oh, a cockroach.
He got in there on his own somehow. It was bizarre. I came down and I was like, oh my gosh, a cockroach crawled in there.
Yeah, well, it's fitting. And it's just somehow.
But
I will say,
go ahead.
Janet, Janet had during her term in the Fed, a second balance sheet with the Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
I want to remind everyone about this. This is utterly illegal. and of course, that's way beyond our pay grade, Ron. We can't possibly understand how finance works in a country as complex as the United States of America.
Yeah.
But yes, they're printing up money we don't even know about.
They keep. I was thinking this last night. They keep the general population confused. There's absolutely no education, even on the basics of it, and then they add a whole nother level of complexity to make it even difficult for people like us that do want to dig in and learn about it to actually understand what's going on, because quite frankly, they're not being honest a lot of the times. I mean, do you think that's a fair statement?
I think so. The education process is actually absolutely critical to understand how budgeting works. We've been dealing with that in the state of Missouri. Yeah. We grew our budget, by the way, and I was fighting against this. I was trying to cut taxes this year. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, the leadership, and so that would be Speaker of the House and the Senate Pro Tem, those were priorities for them. Cutting taxes were not a priority. So we're getting extra money now because, taxes are up because of inflation. Remember now, taxes are a percentage. So whenever inflation goes up, your taxes go up too. So government gets richer under inflationary, conditions. Our state is richer, and instead of cutting taxes, they're finding new ways, inventing new ways to spend the money. And we're a red state. We're not supposed to do that. But now think of it on the Federal Reserve level. Think of it on the federal government level. Right now, there's a battle going on between the House and the Senate over the budget. And you guys know this, the debt ceiling's at stake here. What the House is trying to do is, for the very first time since 2008, which is actually budget the United States government. We don't budget anymore. We just do spending bills and then raise debt ceilings. The last time we had a budget was George Bush Jr. So what the House is trying to do, and guys, and I understand the dynamics of this really well. You're darned if you do, and you're darned if you don't at this point. If you keep on spending at the federal level, we're darned. If you cut spending, we're darned. It's going to be painful. but at the same time, it's got to happen. And think about it for a second. All of these problems in the federal government would go away if they decided to go with gold and silver. They would all go away, but they would lose the dollar, they would lose the military, they would lose all the entitlement programs. That's the cost for doing that, because there simply isn't enough gold and silver to fund all this stuff, especially when we're a nation that doesn't manufacture very much. And once again, basic economics 101, the way you add value to your economy is by manufacturing. That's how you do it. If you do nothing but provide services, you have to buy all the product from other countries that are manufacturing the products. Gold and silver would be the answer no matter what.
You know, I thought Peter Schiff said something. I like or dislike Peter Schiff, but I thought he said something very powerful about the debt crisis. Basically, that it's ironic that now, you know, on the Today Show and CNN, there's all this. Oh, there's a crisis because they haven't raised the debt limit yet. And what he said was, no, the crisis is because they have raised the debt limit. You know, that's the crisis. You know, but it's just crazy. Hey, thank you.
Well,
go ahead, Pat. Go ahead.
You bet. I'm going to say one more thing.
Yeah.
The consequence of us raising the debt ceiling and then 18 months later raising it again and then raising it again, the consequence was losing the world reserve currency. And you guys are seeing it in real time now.
Yeah.
The world doesn't want our dollar anymore because it's becoming worthless. Remember now, all these countries that have their own currencies, number one, are pegged to the dollar. Number two, they have dollar-denominated debt, so they have to start hyper-printing their own currency to make dollar-denominated debt payments. So by staying on the dollar in their countries, they have to hyperinflate with us.
Yeah.
And so they're destroying their own economies at the same time we're destroying ours because we have the world reserve currency. This is a snake eating its own tail. It will not end well. And the United States is going to be ground zero for the financial collapse because we have the world reserve currency. Silver and gold are the solution. Period. End of story.
Yeah. Thank you, Pat. So the snake is eating his own tail, and the hens are coming home to roost simultaneously.
Yep. That's right.
Thank you, buddy.
That's right.
Hey, I'll catch up with you next week. And on behalf of all the viewers, it's been awesome. This is a world record live stream for me, and I wouldn't have been possible without you and CoinShop Chris. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Love you, man.
All right,
thank
buddy.
You again, everyone in Ron's basement. I love all of you guys. Thank you for helping Missouri. I hope we can count on your help again, Governor special session or regular session next year.
All right, Pat. Have a good one. Thank you.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow. All right, guys. What a special treat. We got to hear from our friend, Pat Holland from the Missouri Freedom Initiative. Hey, I'm going to wrap up. Take care. Go check out the channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. That would be really helpful. Give this video, this live stream, a thumbs up, and be well, okay? You're the most important part of Ron's basement. Take care, and I'll see you soon. I'm gonna go look through the comments, make sure I didn't miss anything real quick here. Thank you, Pat. Everybody says thank you, Pat. Hello, Daniel. Good to see you. C130, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jekyll. Clarity, time for a fart. How about investing in organic seeds? Sounds like a good idea. Thank you, M77. Marshmaz, you have a great day too. Mountain Bullion Entertainment, thank you, my friend. Silver Praying Mantis. All right, guys, have a great one, and we'll see you next time.